Hello, 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 and welcome to the Hope for Prisoners Tuesday Night Huddle Up. I am John Ponder, founder and CEO of Hope for Prisoners, and we are so glad that you have carved out some time to spend some time with us here tonight. Can you give yourselves a gigantic hand for being here this evening? We also want to give a big shout out to our family and friends inside Nevada Department of Corrections. We're at Southern Desert Correctional Facility. We're also at Gene Conservation Camp and Casa Grande Transitional Facilities. Can we say hello to them? And thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We also want to give a big shout out to everybody who is watching from around the world on the Hope for Prisoners Facebook Live page. We're so glad you're here, and everybody who's joining in on Zoom, you guys are in for an absolute treat tonight. But in the normal Hope for Prisoners fashion, what we'd like to do is open up this opportunity for some testimonies, right? You know, we have those popcorn testimonies that really encourage each other. It might have been some people, because I know there's some people that graduated last week. You can maybe get up and talk about what that experience was for you. Maybe you've gotten a job. Maybe if you're inside the facility and you got something you want to share with us this evening, make sure you make your way up to the front. If you're watching the Facebook Live, just make sure you drop it into the chat, and Chad's going to be monitoring that chat. So we're going to open it up to here in the room. Any testimonies, anything anybody like to share? Why don't you make your way up? Give him a big, gigantic hand, because we get excited. He looks like one of those guys. I got to hold on to the microphone. Tell us your name. Look at the camera over there. Tell us your name and what is that you like to share.
My name is Jesse. I'd like to share with y'all that I never had a license, and I just went to take my test a few days ago, and I passed it.
Oh, give him a hand for that. Good job. Congratulations. So what's next with you with the driver's license?
Also, my scheduled appointment is on July 20th, so I'm a little nervous, but I need y'all to root me on.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good deal, man. Give him a hand for that. That is awesome. That is so awesome, awesome, awesome. Any other testimonies? Well, why don't you make your way up here? We're looking for you, Gene Conservation Camp or Southern Desert Correctional Facilities, or anybody who graduated. If you please just look in the camera right there, tell us your name and what is that you like to share.
Hi, my name's John. I finished electrical training about a month ago, and I got hired today. So I start tomorrow morning.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Isn't that awesome and amazing? And I hope that that's going to encourage you, those of you who are looking to get into some vocational training, because that's what our job is, to maybe get you into that vocational training so you can get plugged in with one of our partner employers so that you can start earning in sustainable ways so you could take care of yourself and take care of your family. Let's keep going. Anybody else? Make your way on up. Come on. Give them a hand. Step up, tell us your name, look at the camera over there, tell us your name, and what is that you like to share with us?
My name is Stephen Banks. I just got hired at Gordon Ramsay Steak.
Oh! Isn't that awesome? That's amazing. We might keep going. We might keep our speaker on hold. Make your way up. Come on, tell us. You might want to run up here because I'm excited to hear about this. Step up, look at the camera, tell us your name. What is that you like to share with us?
Hey guys, my name is Ashley. I'm 22 weeks sober. I just got a job, and I just want to thank God for letting me be a second chance mother.
Oh, she said 22 weeks, clean and sober. That is so awesome and exciting. Anybody else in the room? Well, come on, make your way up. That's what I'm talking about. And look at the look. Before you do that, just look at the camera. Look at the ladies out there in Gene Camp. Not one of those ladies got up. And then we're going to challenge the men over there in Southern Desert. Boy, they up in there deep. Step up. Look at the camera. Tell us your name and what is that you like to share with us.
My name is Kara, and as of 5/16/24, I have 2 consecutive years sober.
Oh, my goodness. I would love it, love it, love it. Clean and sober, clean and sober. Anybody else? Oh, he said, no, he did a little drive-by just now. Well, that is awesome and so amazing. Oh, you had something you want to share? Come on, step up. There we go. See, we done caught the bug down.
My name's Danny, and today I have 8 months sober.
Oh, give it up for good. Anybody else? Well, come on up. You done caught the bug now.
My name is Matthew Coleman. I got 3 years clean. I just left prison, Southern Desert, High Desert, 4 weeks ago. ever since I started this program, my family's actually reaching out to me, and those people inside know that that's going to happen to you too. No one.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That is so good. I always love to hear the stories about people saying they're being clean and sober, right? Because again, we know the importance of sobriety. Watch this. My name is John Ponder, and today I am 20 years clean and sober. So good, so good. Hey, so we're gonna go ahead and get things underway. You guys ready? Yeah. All right. I want you to look at the person next to you and say, "Get ready." Get ready. Say, "This is gonna be good." You know, we always invite people who we can identify with, who we can relate to, when we reach out all over the country. And man, oh man, do we have a rock star here for you tonight. And for those of you who are inside the correctional settings, when you listen to his story, know and understand that he once upon a time sat where you're sitting, and then listen to what it is that he's doing today, and just understand that there's nothing on the inside of him that is not on the inside of you. We just want to be able to help you to tap into that. So before I read his bio, introduce him, we're going to go ahead and then go before the Lord and open up his prayer. So if you guys would please bow your heads. So Father, we come before you this evening in the matchless name of Jesus, God, just thanking you for being the awesome, wonderful, magnificent God that you are. We thank you for everything that you do, the things you've done, God, and everything that your word promises that you will do, God. And we're standing firm on those promises, God, even though we have not seen or may not seen the manifestation of it, God, but we stand in full expectation, God, that we will be walking in those promises because you have promised them, God. We invite you into the midst of this huddle up right now, God. We ask you to huddle up with us, God. We want to lift up our speaker, Ken Hoskins, to you right now, God. We thank you for the testimony that you have worked out in him. Now, God, we ask you to illuminate every gift, talent, and ability that you placed on the inside of him, God. Let the words that come out of his mouth come out with clarity. And God, we just pray that an anointing rest on each and every one of those words that is spoken, God, so that as they are received into the ears of the hearer, God, they will serve the intended purpose for which you sent them. God, we love you, we worship you, we pray this prayer in the precious name of your son, Jesus Christ. And in Jesus' name, everybody said amen. Amen. All right, you guys ready? We got a great speaker for you tonight. We're talking about Ken Hoskins, right? And I'm going to read his bio. So Ken Hoskins, originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan, is a resilient, dedicated professional currently serving as the customer service section chief in capital projects within the Public Works Division at the City of Houston. I read that slow so you can make sure that you caught every bit of that. And it is the largest public works organization literally in the country. With a remarkable journey of personal and professional growth, Ken has defied the odds by overcoming a period of incarceration and time inside the Michigan Department of Corrections to establish himself as a valued and tenured employee with 6 years of service with the City of Houston. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Ken is a sought-after concert promoter and logistics guru, renowned for managing international festivals and shows featuring acclaimed artists such as T.I., Charlie Wilson, Method Man, the Isley Brothers, Fantasia, and many, many others. His wealth of experience in this area has propelled him to the forefront of his industry. Ken's passion extends beyond his professional endeavors, but to advocating for individuals facing background challenges. He is deeply committed to driving change within the HR systems and to ensure fairness and impartiality, leveraging his own experiences to make a meaningful impact in the lives of others. In all aspects of life, Ken embodies resilience, dedication, steadfast commitment to advocating for equitable opportunities and fair treatment for all individuals. If you guys would please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to Mr. Ken Hoskins. Ken, welcome to the Tuesday Night Huddle Up.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Ponder. I appreciate the opportunity. I am super excited to be here. Before I get started, let me say congrats to those that stepped up, Mr. Jesse, Mr. John, Mr. Stephen, Miss Ashley, Miss Kara, Mr. Danny, and Mr. Matthew. Thank you guys for sharing your testimonies, and we want to make sure that we're celebrating those successes. So congratulations to you all for sure. I want to get right into it. I want to get started right away. Like I said, I'm excited to be here. I'm inspired to be here because this is something that's very familiar to me. It's a journey I know. It's a journey I've walked. So I hope that anything that I say or something that comes out of my mouth is inspiring, because I remember sitting in those seats and coming to hear different speakers who would come and speak in the Michigan Department of Corrections. And I remember feeling like I was never going to get out. I was never going to get home. I was never going to make it. I remember feeling defeated. And so I want to be a beacon of light and hope, so that you guys will understand, so that someone, if it's just one person, will understand that there is life. There is life after release. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. That bio was amazing. Again, thank you, Mr. Ponder, for reading that. I am from a city called Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was raised in a two-parent household up until the age of 10. I've heard a lot of close family and friends say that my household was a model household, that my family was a model family. My parents were married. We were church going family. My father, I am a PK, so I'm the son of a pastor. At the time of my growing up, he wasn't quite a pastor yet. He was a minister. And so I grew up I grew up with uh, and then there's
There, we're having some technical difficulties. Please stand by. Okay. Take your time, because I'm going to stand up and start telling everybody's jokes, because I used to be a stand-up comedian. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. 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 Yep. Yep. Oh, I am not sure. Okay. And just so you guys know, Houston has experienced some really nasty storms right now. So if you just sit tight, we're gonna pull it together.
Okay, I think I'm in there, John.
Yeah, we in there.
Okay, everybody, I'm sorry about that. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir. We're good.
Okay, I don't know where we left off. I definitely want to make sure I congratulated those individuals who shared their testimony: Jesse, John, Stephen, Ashley, Kara, Danny, and Matthew. Forgive me, we are, like John said, we are dealing with some weather issues here, internet issues, and we had a tornado hit the past few days, so we're recovering from that. But like I mentioned, thank you, John. I'm excited to get into my story a little bit. So I'll just jump right in. I was off and running. I didn't know I lost connection, but let's jump right back in. I'm the son of a pastor. I come from a two-parent household up until I was 10 years old. My parents were married, and we went to church every day, from Sunday to Sunday. It seemed like we were in church, and so I spent a lot of time from the time I can remember up until I was 10 years old, in church and learning about religion and about Christ and about Christianity, and being taught that from my mother and from my father. And that was pretty much my life up until things started. We took a left turn. My parents decided that they were going to get a divorce, and there's always two versions of a story, and then there's the truth. And I am 46 years old, 47 in July, and I've come to learn that the variations of what happened, I've been able to formulate my own opinion and gather, kind of what was what. But they ended up deciding to divorce when I was around 10 years old. I have two siblings that come from that two-parent household. I have a sister that's 4 years younger than me, and I have a brother that's 2 years younger than me. Me and him are very close. My sister is also, I'm close with all of my siblings, but me and my brother, being 2 years apart and being both boys, we're extremely close, and we talk about quite a bit of things. And one of the things we talked about was just an understanding of how things were at that age. My sister was a little younger, so she didn't remember as much. I can vividly remember a conversation my father had, and he sat us down when they decided to do this divorce and go through with the divorce. And he sat us down and he talked to us and explained how much he loved us, explained that they weren't able to fix it, essentially, and that they would be getting a divorce. And one of the things that he said to me, which I took as a charge, it really was a charge to me at 10 years old, is, I need you to be the man of the house. Now, I'm certain that he didn't mean that in a literal sense, at that age, obviously. But I took that and I wore that as a mantle subconsciously. I didn't know, but subconsciously I took that on as a mantle, because this is a man that I idolize, and I didn't want to let him down. And if he wasn't going to be there, I felt like I had to protect my siblings. I felt like I had to protect my mother. And so I really wore that subconsciously. I didn't know, but subconsciously I wore that as a badge, as a charge, and as a mantle. And so that kind of stuck with me throughout my formative years. And when they divorced, there was two different ways that they went. My father was, I can remember, and I'm guessing it was about a year maybe, that he took a layoff from church, to deal with divorce, to kind of grow in the areas he felt he needed to grow, and then he jumped right back into ministry within a year or two. It wasn't the same with my mother, not right away, and I think she dealt with a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. I think she dealt with a lot of hurt, because she might have sought out help. She might have sought out support from what she knew as her support system being church, and just from conversations and things that I've heard, I don't think she received that, and I think that pushed her away from the church for a very long time, which in turn affected the dynamic of our household. So our household was changed quite a bit. Um, there was no more church. The music changed. I learned a lot of different music at the time that I had no clue. I didn't know about Parliament and Funkadelic. I didn't know about the Gap Band, but I learned about those artists which they aren't bad. That's not a bad thing, but the dynamic of my household completely changed. My father again jumped back into ministry. One of the things that we did as kids is we visited my father twice a month. So we had visitation with him every other weekend. So it was like night and day, every other weekend, and I don't want to, say that my house was a party house, because that's not it at all. My mom she did the best she could. But the choices that she made and some of the things that she connected with didn't line up to what was my life prior to the divorce. She met a guy who I don't want to say introduced her to certain things, because I don't want to put that on him, but they both indulged in drug use. And this is the 80s, this is the early 90s, so this is the crack era. And so my household was directly affected from the crack era. I watched the decline in character. I watched the decline in who my mother was and who I'd known her to be up until that point. And it spiraled down from there for my household and for what me and my siblings were really exposed to. Every shelter in my city, in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we lived in. This was a domestic relationship, so there was a lot of domestic violence. If they were drinking, or there was drugs involved, or there was a party, there was a lot of domestic violence. And I witnessed my mother literally get almost beat to a pulp. And I can vividly remember one instance. Me and my brother, and I don't remember if it was him or if it was me. More than likely, it was him, because my brother was a hothead, amazing guy. But back when we were younger, he had a temper. And I can remember us waking up after an abusive situation between my mother and her boyfriend. And I remember my brother getting a knife out of the drawer while this guy was asleep, and he woke up and saw that. And I remember him asking in a really roaring voice, like, "What are you gonna do with that? I'm probably 11 at this time. My brother's probably 9. And I remember him asking that after we saw what he did to my mother. And so and I'm getting to the direction I'm going. And I didn't start this at the beginning, but I want you guys to think about me, or you, in the sense of it's all about me. This is the mindset I want you to have. It sounds selfish, and I'll make it make sense in the end, but think on the lines of it's all about me. In order to be successful, for you to be successful in your integration into society and what's to come, it has to be all about me. And I'll make that make sense in a second. So me explaining these formative years is kind of helping you understand the me, and I'm talking about myself. So I remember that happening with me and my brother with the knife, but that wasn't enough. And my mother woke up as well, but that wasn't enough for her to leave this situation. She stayed in this situation well past this instance. And so we witnessed so much toxicity, and so much anger, and so much rage, and so much things that were counter what God is about and what we had learned up until the divorce. I remember they argued and fought one time, and he put us out. And I remember us sleeping outside. I remember us sleeping on the stairs to our apartment, because he would not open the door, and we slept there all night. And so that's something that, again, at that time I was probably 12, my brother 10, and my sister 8. So you think about a woman with her kids sleeping on the stairs. That's something that happened when I was 12 years old, and I'll never forget that. That's an experience that I take with me to this day. So my mother stayed in this situation, and she did the best she could as a mother, but she was fighting an addiction, and she was also in a situation where she really felt she couldn't get out of. And so a lot of things I taught myself, or I thought I taught myself. A lot of things I learned myself, because my mother wasn't really my mother anymore. Drugs, when you're using, you're not the person you think you are. You may think that you're managing and you're handling it, but you're really not. And the people that are directly affected by your use, they can tell. And we were directly affected by it. And we covered her, we protected her, because my father never knew. My aunts, her sisters, no one never knew. And we never told anybody. we really covered her and protected that part of our life. And that's something that she would always say: what happens in this house stays in this house. And I don't know if that's the best advice for from a mental standpoint, but this relationship continued. My mother continued. My father is now back in church. He's now back in ministry. He's now back in the pulpit. And like I said earlier, every other weekend we would go to my father, and it was night and day. So there we're getting, Jesus, and we're getting taught, and we're learning, and it's business as usual prior to me, prior to the divorce. I'm seeing my father go to work. I'm seeing him as a provider. I'm seeing him maintain a household. And those are the things that were instilled in me from that side, which I'm grateful for. I am truly grateful for, but that was only twice a month. Outside of that, it was back to whatever we saw, whatever we did, whatever we witnessed with my mother's situation. And I don't want to make it as if it was all bad, because again, my mother did the very best that she could, but she was managing and dealing with her own addiction on top of being involved in a toxic and abusive relationship. And so, as time progressed, I grew into my teen years, 14, 15, I'm in high school. This drug use and this relationship my mom had continued. And I'm kind of expediting through the story to get to the prison part of my life. My mom ended up, I come home from high school one day. I think I'm a sophomore in school. I come home from school one day and she's not there. No one's there. I don't think much of it. I was working at Burger King at the time, and I go to work. I go to Burger King and work my part-time shift, come home, still nobody there. This is before cell phones, so I really wasn't able to call or make a call or contact anyone. I just, business as usual for me. I went to sleep, woke up, went to school, school out, come home, same thing, nobody's there. I think I worked again the next day. So it was maybe 2 or 3 days that this was the case before my mom's sister, my aunt, comes to the house, and she asked me, "What am I doing there?" And I'm like, "This is where I'm supposed to be. This is home." And she's like, "No, you got to leave. You can't be here. You're supposed to be at your father's," or something of the sort. And come to find out, my mother had left town with her boyfriend, the same guy, and it was said that they owed some money to somebody. They weren't able to pay that, and there were some threats made, and she just left. So she left town. I don't know where the communication dropped off at, but it was a drop off in communication. I was still there for a few days, and I ended up moving in with my father, and staying with my father from 15 until my adult life, 18, 19 years old. I went to college. And so that was something that impacted me, because I felt like this was a second time that I had lost somebody, somebody who was supposed to kind of be there. Even though I never lost my father, he's always been there for me, but in the home, you know what I mean? And that was not something that was, I don't think I ever really had time to sit with, because when the divorce happened, my brother and my sister were affected as well. And so I've always been their comforter. I've always been their protector, in the sense of when we were younger. It seems like it's reversed now. My brother is more like a comfort for me. I lean on him a lot for some of the things he's accomplished and some of the things he's been able to do. But back then, it was not that way. It was me. They looked to me, and I always maintained straight face. I never was able to cry or because they were doing that. And if they saw me doing it, then it was just more of a panic. So I never really dealt with my feelings. And so again, back to my point of it's all about me. When I got in trouble, which I'm getting to now, when I got in trouble, it was only me that I could deal with. I was forced to deal with who I was. And so kind of fast forwarding to that, once I got with my dad, I thought I was doing things that would make me feel better, jumping into the streets and trying to sell dope and, trying to sell weed. None of it was for me. None of it was who I was. And and the people closest to me knew that. The people who knew that's not who I was. And some of the things that my friends got away with, I always got caught for. I always got caught because it wasn't who I was. It wasn't it wasn't who God called me to be, right? And so, I can remember vividly standing outside and somebody pulling up to buy some dope from me, and they say, "Ain't you Kenny's son?" And I'm like, "Man, yeah, you Kenny." So they knew who I was. They knew who my father was. And I don't think that, if I remember, I don't think that stopped them from trying to buy what they bought. They still did it, but it just was always something reminding me of who I was. There was always something or someone reminding me of who I was. My father is pretty prominent in the city. My grandfather was a prominent musician in the city. My grandmother was highly active in church. So there was always somebody reminding me who I was, right? And so I was never able to really get into doing things that other people could do. When I became an adult, I went off to school, went off to college, left my father's house. And when I got to college, I wasn't ready for school. I wasn't ready for school at all. I did not focus. I was too busy chasing females. I thought that's what I wanted. I thought that would satisfy my desire to have connection. Right, I lost connection from losing my mother when she left. I lost connection when my father left, and I hadn't dealt with that. So because of me not dealing with that, I thought connection was in what I felt when I was connected to a woman. And so that's where my focus was. Like it just was not on school. It was not on the things that it should have been. So I dealt with pregnancy early on from a young adult, and beautiful kids. But I wasn't ready. Wasn't ready to be a father. I wasn't ready to handle the responsibility of what that meant. And so bounced around with dealing with that. Now I'm paying child support. Dropped out of school, dropped out of college, and started working. Streets didn't work for me because I kept getting people who knew who I was, or I couldn't really sell marijuana because I at the time I was smoking it. So smoking marijuana and trying to sell it didn't add up, right? And then you get hungry after you after you smoke, and so I was spending too much money. So I knew right away that I wasn't about that life. That really wasn't me. So I dropped out and got a job. And once I started working, I kind of felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing, taking care of my responsibilities. I ended up getting married to a young lady, amazing young lady who we were in high school together, dated once we got to college, and we ended up getting married. I was nowhere near ready for marriage, nowhere near being ready for marriage. I don't think either of us was ready for marriage. And she did a better job at it than I did, but what it took to be married, I wasn't ready for that. And the marriage ended up failing. She did her best to stick by my side. I ended up working for a school system in Grand Rapids. I worked for a school system in Grand Rapids and ended up being involved with one of the parents of one of my students during my time working for this district. And while working at this district, I developed a relationship that was inappropriate, and that ended up landing me in the legal system. That relationship landed me in the legal system, which in turn landed me in prison. So 2008, working in the school district. 2009, landed in the legal system. 2010, I was sent to prison. I ended up going to prison. I was sentenced to 3 years, and I did the 3 years and ended up doing 2 years on parole in Grand Rapids. One of the things that I felt when I went to prison was alone. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there, and I didn't feel like I was done fair, which is normal. Most of us probably feel that. Now, getting back to my point, It's all about me. What I had to learn and what ultimately catapulted me to the other side to where I'm able to now do the things I'm doing is understanding me. So I gave you the story, I gave you all of those things so that you would understand who I was. I had to understand who I was in order to get past who I was. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll say it again. I had to understand who I was in order to get past who I was being past tense. So it's important for you to self-reflect. Self-reflecting is one of the most important aspects of your turn to change. You have to self-reflect. You have to be able to be accountable to somebody. Find somebody to be accountable to. Find somebody that can be a part of your support system that's going to hold you accountable. I mentioned my brother earlier, one of my closest friends. He is my best friend, and he's always been the one to hold me accountable, one of the ones to hold me accountable. And if you're not able to be held accountable to somebody, I guarantee you, you're setting yourself up to fail again. You have to be able to be accountable to somebody. Also, find a good support system. Maintain positive relationships. A good support system is necessary. You cannot make it without a support system. You cannot do this without some sort of a support system. What John and this organization, Hope for Prisoners, is doing is amazing. This is the type of support system that I wish I had. I have an amazing support system. My family is very close-knit, and they've all been super supportive from the time I was released to now. You have to have a support system in order to make it, and those positive relationships are important. Self-image. How do you see yourself? How do you view who you are? That's important, because if you don't view yourself past your current circumstances or past who you were, then it's going to be hard for somebody else to view you in the light that you want to be viewed in. So you have to view yourself past who you used to be. It's going to be hard. It's going to be extremely hard. This is not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to walk out of prison and walk away from a life or who people think you are. There's always going to be somebody to remind you of who you are. Anytime, for me, when I divorced and when I came home from prison and you want to start dating again, you have to be able to look past who you were. People will bring it up. People may ask about it. And you have to be able to accept, own it, talk about it, and leave it in the past. But if you don't deal with who you are, you won't ever be able to move into who God is intending for you to be. So it's important to see yourself as who you want to be. Be confident. Be ready for the moment. Because when opportunity does present itself, are you ready? Will you be ready? Right? I do believe that being a Christian and believing in God, I do believe that God will do anything, all things that we may ask of Him. But there's an expectation He has of us as well. And if we don't do any work, if we don't put in any work, you can't expect God to match that, right? So you have to put in work. Be understanding that you may hear no 50,000 times. Someone may going to apply for a job, and I love what I heard from Jesse and John and Stephen and Ashley about the jobs that they got and are ready to start. Congratulations, because I remember, when I came home, I worked for a greenhouse for, I think it was $6 an hour. I came home and I was working for a greenhouse. I was the only American, not just Black American. I was the only American working in the greenhouse. And I remember them laughing at me. I would get on my knees, and I knew nothing about gardening, nothing about plants, nothing. But I was working. I went every day, every single day. I busted my butt because I knew that it would take work. I knew that. And I knew I had children looking at me. I don't want to let anybody else down that has supported me, that has been there for me. And so every day is a fight for me. I'm blessed, like my bio, like he mentioned, I've been with the city of Houston for 6 years, and I've met some amazing people with the city of Houston. I've been able to do some amazing things, and I've been there 6 years. I've been promoted 5 times. So I was more recently promoted 2 months ago, and so I'm fully functioning in that role now, And like I said, I met some amazing people. I've started some amazing things within the organization. I've started a leadership group of like-minded individuals, leaders, and we get together and we talk. And we talk about challenges and triumphs and struggles and things that have worked for them in leadership, things that have not worked, and we support one another. And I think things like that are important for our mental. And so that was something I was able to start, and I got a lot of people behind that. With this last promotion, it didn't come without a fight. Like I mentioned earlier, you got to be ready to take no sometimes, and then fight. I was told I went through the interview process, and I want to share this, and then I'll pass it back to John. But I went through the interview process and the HR process. They did my background. Every time you get a promotion with the city of Houston, they run your background again. It's just a process just to make sure you don't have any new things happening on your background. So they ran my background again. They offered me a conditional offer, offered me the job, and asked me to send them in some documents kind of explaining what my background was. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, I've never had to do that the 4 other times I was promoted, but okay, let's do it. I sent that in. Another 3 weeks went by. I'm playing phone tag with people or not getting calls back. I'm trying to find out, hey, I got the offer. You got a start date. The background check is done. It's all come back. No change. And so we went round and round, probably about 2 months. Finally, I get a call from one of the executives in the HR department, and she explains to me that I won't be able to start the position. I didn't understand that, and I asked her why, and she said, "Well, there were some MQs that hit on your background based on what the position is," and didn't make sense to me. So I called a few people that I knew in the city that were a little higher up, told them about it. I hadn't really shared with many people my background, but in this particular case, I trusted one gentleman and did that. And it don't sound right to me either. Let me make some calls. Long story short, it was a big back and forth. I advocated. I wrote up some things about how the policy was unfair for people with background challenges, especially tenured employees who have been there, over 3 years, and you bring something up, or even going through the hiring process. If it was going to be a no, it should be no before you interview. We do panel interviews. So you set somebody in front of this panel, and they go through these interviews, and it just wasn't a fair system to me. And so I advocated, wrote letters, drew up a new way that it could work, talked to a few people, and I got a call saying, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know you're going to be able to start your role effective immediately from a retro standpoint." And that was mind blowing to me, because when I was under the mindset that it was a no already. So I just started writing things because I didn't want anybody else to feel what I felt. I didn't want anybody else to have to go through the embarrassment, or you get to telling your coworkers, "No, oh, congratulations, you got a promotion." Or I didn't want anybody else to go through the whole steps of going through the panel interview, talking to these people on a panel, doing the best you can, presenting yourself, getting an offer, and then being told no. If it was going to be no, then vet that to the beginning to where you don't go through that. And so my advocacy was really from a standpoint of making it fair, and so not doing something to somebody mentally that could break them from even wanting to try to advance in the future. But they said, "Hey, man, they checked your record, they checked your city record, and everybody spoke highly of you. They couldn't find anything from your attendance to your performance that really wouldn't warrant you moving into that position." And so I ended up being, my advocacy, which was really geared towards other people, it ended up working in my favor. So not only did I get the promotion, but they also changed that hiring process. So it's for anybody, they were looking back, I think. Thank you. Completely changed. So make sure that you're ready. Be ready for the moment. Be prepared, and never stop advocating for yourself. Always maintain a support system. Always maintain positive relationships, and be accountable to somebody. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Mr. Ponder. Thank you so much.
Can we give Ken Hoskins a gigantic round of applause? Man, oh man, oh man. Isn't that awesome? Formerly incarcerated, now governmental job with the city of Houston. Not only opening up the doors for himself, but opening up doors for other people. We're gonna turn it over to Q&A, and we're gonna open it up for you here in this room, or you inside Nevada Department of Corrections, or on Facebook Live. If you have some nugget that Mr. Hoskins dropped in this room that resonated with you, something you want to expound on, or perhaps maybe you would like to just compliment him. We're going to make our way over into our headquarters, the Hope for Prisoners Billy Walters Center for Second Chances, and we're going to ask you to look over there in that camera and address Mr. Hoskins.
Hey, so it's me, Ashley, and I just wanted to thank you because your story really touches everybody. So I just really wanted to thank you for your kind words, and change is always going to be there for us. So
That is outstanding. Give her a hand for that. Give her a hand for that. Any other questions, comments here in the room inside Nevada Department of Corrections? Can I see them? Because I'm looking at the women out there at Gene Conservation Camp. Something that Ken Hoskins dropped in this room that is really resonating with you. We're going to go over to Nevada Department of Corrections, Southern Desert Correctional Center, inside the Hope for Prisoners unit. Please step up, tell us your name, and what is that question or comment that you might have, oh great leader, for Ken Hoskins.
How you doing? My name is Lamont Holder, number 67690. I just wanted to really more of a comment than anything. My situation not like yours in exactness, but it means a lot of hardship, growing up. So what I took from you and what I take from Mr. Ponder and all the staff here on a daily basis is just, that accountability is huge, because I knew it all, growing up. Like, I didn't answer to nobody. I beating my own drum, the whole thing. So, just to kind of like take and go with 2 and 2 and still push forward. Now you got a state job. That's that alone within itself is enough to let it be known that you can do it, serious about it. So I just wanted to more or less, say my gratitude for you coming through and dropping that jewel on us, man. God bless you for that. Thank you.
Sounds good. Mr. Hoskins, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to that if you'd like to.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, man, and keep pushing. It's possible, man. If I can do it, you can do it. So keep pushing, man. Don't lose hope. Thank you so much.
Give him a hand for that. We're going to open it up here in this room inside Nevada Department of Corrections. Any other questions or comments or some nugget or jewel that Ken Hoskins dropped in this room? Hey, Ken, they got me running around this room like Phil Donahue. Where we at? We are at Gene Conservation Camp. I'm sorry, was that Southern Desert? Yep, please step up. Tell us your name. What is that question and comment that you might have for Ken Hoskins?
Yeah, so I just want to know about when you was talking about being like the me part for myself, and about you being selfish, not towards other people, but just about being selfish towards, like, is it like in a given way, or is it in a way where you just trying to be selfish so you can get to where you're trying to be?
Well, what I mean is I don't mean it in a selfish way, because when you say it's about me, sometimes people will think about it in a selfish way. What I mean is you have to go back to where it all started for. How did you land where you are? And once you understand that, then you can move past it. That's what I mean. So make it about you in the sense of you have to dissect every detail of your life that might have landed you where you are. And then after that, after you find that out, what is it going to take for you to advance? Who do you need to connect to? Because I do believe connection is important. Find a mentor, find somebody that's doing what you want to do in the field that you want to be in. Make sure that you keep a connection to somebody. And that's also good for accountability, but make it about you in that sense.
Good job. Give him a hand for that. Give him a hand for that. And Ken, again, I just want to compliment you. What a positive example you're setting to be employed in a governmental job at the city of Las Vegas. The city of Houston. And I'm hoping that the city of Las Vegas will catch up. I think somebody was standing up inside Gene Conservation Camp. You got to move in front of the camera. You can get back up. Go once. Go on twice. All right, it's going. We can go inside Casa Grande Transitional Facility. Please step up. Tell us your name and what is that question or comment that you might have for Ken Hoskins.
My name is Randy, and I just want to say that really touched me. I know that I've been sober 2.5 years, and I know I have a lot of blessings in my life right now that I wouldn't have had had I not made those changes. And I'm one more step on the way. It's my first day here. It's a hard step. I have a lot of motivation.
Well, outstanding. Can we give her a gigantic round of applause? Congratulations. Congratulations. Keep going. We have a few more minutes before we go to the top. We're going to come back to Southern Desert Correctional Facilities. Step up. I'm waiting for the women at Gene Camp, but please step up. Southern Desert. Tell us your name and what's that question or comment that you might have.
My name is Rondo. I just had a question. So you said you had a brother, but did both of y'all promote violence upon each other? Like, was both of y'all based off one another? Y'all was both doing bad, or was it just you?
Nah, man. Brother is totally, I won't say opposite because we both have a lot of similarities, but I was more into the trouble part. He was a fighter. He was more of a temper, a hothead when we were in school. But as far as like, you know, we both tried some things, but I think I dibbled a little more in the street part of it as far as like trying to sell dope and sell weed. But where we come from the same place that Floyd Mayweather was raised in, Grand Rapids, Michigan. So some things were you couldn't avoid. So, you know, he dealt with his own things as well. But I think I was a little more rebellious than him in that way. But he was more of a fighter than I was, for sure. Hopefully that answers it.
Good deal. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I think we have time for one or two more. Is anybody in the headquarters? I'm going to make my way over there to you as I'm getting my steps in. If you please step up. I need you to look all the way across the room into the camera over there and tell us that question. Tell us your name. What is that question or comment you might have for Ken Hoskins?
Okay, so my name is Sarai, and my question is about his mother. Being a mom who pretty much abandoned my kid when I went to prison for 6 years and then went back for another year. I just hearing your story made me realize even more how important it is to have both roles of a mom and a dad. So just wanted to know what happened to your mom.
Great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. My mom is alive and well in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She and she's still mom. She's still there. She ended up coming back into our lives. That stint was maybe 2 years or so, and she ended up coming back. But of course, as many of you know, once you're an addict, you'll struggle with that for the rest of your life. But she's done a very good job maintaining and doing well for herself.
Well, thank you for being transparent and sharing that. I think somebody said they wanted to give a shout out. So if you look over the camera over there, now just because I'm giving you a shout out, I know everybody else is going to want to follow the lead because I see people waving in the cameras and everything like that. But go ahead, we can give you the shout out.
All right, I want to give a shout out to my girl Stacy. I'm very proud of you, and you'll be home soon. Because this program's amazing.
Well, good deal. Did you hear it, Stacy? Did you hear her, Stacy? Well, listen, as we bring things to a close, Mr. Hoskins, again, want to thank you for carving out the time. Thank you for weathering the storm there in Houston. Thank you for being a shining example, particularly in the city of Houston, full-time employed and continuously getting promoted and opening up doors for other people. So thank you so very, very much. We're going to keep you on the short list. And the next time I'm down in the city of Houston, I'm going to make sure we carve out some time to have a lunch. Want to say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, yes, we have to.
Yes, let's definitely do that. Want to say thank you to all our family and friends inside Nevada Department of Corrections. Gene Camp, wait, hold on a second. Gene Camp is going to be on punishment. No donuts, no pizza, no nothing, because not one person got up and said anything. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We want to say good night to our friends over in Unit 2J. I will see you first thing tomorrow morning, and I am bringing in a special treat for you guys out in Unit 12A. Want to say goodnight to our friends over at Casa Grande Transition Facility. Everybody who's watching the Hope for Prisoners Facebook Live page, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you guys again next Tuesday night. Until then, God bless you and be safe.